Hi, thanks for tuning into our channel. Today we're going to talk about the building and deployment of a near zero input greenhouse. To talk to us about this, we have the designer, Darren Jewell. So Darren, tell us about what got you started with this greenhouse project.
Well, we've been gardening on this property for many years and just hate to see the garden die during the winter. So we started doing some small-scale greenhouse in basically what you'd call like a lean-to hoop house against a wall, and in a 4 foot by 20 foot lean-to. We were able to grow enough vegetables for ourselves and lots of our friends during the winter. And we had so much fun doing that we just decided to scale it up and do a full-size greenhouse.
Alright, so you decided to build the greenhouse, and what did you have to do to actually build it?
The first step's site prep, and you've always got a little bit of site preparation in any building project. We had quite a bit in this one because the wall that I'm sitting on right now was the defining wall between the front yard and the backyard. This site is in the northeast heights of Albuquerque on a 0.2 acre lot, and it's kind of a suburban environment, and this wall was the defining wall between the front yard and the backyard. We had to build another wall to bring this area into the backyard, and we had to change some grades around. We had to take out 3 trees. That was really the hardest part of this, was digging the foundation for the block wall, doing the block wall, getting the tree roots out, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so after the initial site prep, what did you have to do after that?
I guess the next step is setting up your framing at that point. And this was a greenhouse package that we bought from Greenhouse Megastore. It's a pretty economical bow house. These bows are rolled form steel, and the ends of those are just set in the ground. They're set in holes that are about 2 foot diameter and about 2 to 3 feet deep. A friend of mine helped me drill those with a power auger.
Okay, so after the hoop house was set up, then what did you do?
After you've got the framing up, you got to get the end walls in. One end wall down here is framed. It's framed out of redwood, and it's covered with a half-inch sheet of the polystyrene foam insulation. That's pretty good stuff. We're pretty happy that we used that. That stopped a lot of the condensation issues that we were getting on that exterior wall. The top part of that wall is polycarbonate panels. Not really a really good choice for greenhouse. We found that out. We'd like to replace that later. And then if you go around that side, you'll see that the other end wall is common to the house. And this greenhouse is not attached. It's got an air seal in between the house and where the bows start. And we don't really have much heat loss there because of the house.
Okay, so tell me, what are the elements that make this a near zero input greenhouse as opposed to, I don't know, say your average run-of-the-mill greenhouse?
Well, a greenhouse, if you call it a hoop house, that implies that there's no heating done, and it's just season extension. And if you call something a greenhouse, that implies that you're using some kind of heating, and you're growing basically warm weather vegetables year round. We're doing that here. We're growing warm weather stuff year round, and the zero or near zero input part of that is that we're trying not to use fossil fuels at all. At this point, we're still using a little bit of electricity, but it's super minimal. And the elements that make that possible are basically just capturing the sun's energy and storing it inside the greenhouse during the day, and then it heats the greenhouse at night. So the elements are, we've got 3 different systems. We've got one that's, if you look up here, you'll see a corrugated 4-inch tube that's sucking air down, that loops through the soil about 6 times over in this grow bed that you're looking at right now, and it goes over this way. You'll see there's a fan pulling on that, so it's pulling hot air in. That hot air is transferring its heat into the soil, and cooler air is coming out. So that effectively cools the air which is too hot during the day, and it effectively warms the soil, which releases its heat into the atmosphere here at night. The other one is the solar panels on the wall. We run water through those during the day when the sun is shining on them, and we store that in a 700-foot tank, 700-gallon tank of water that you're looking at right now. That's our thermal mass. And the third element that makes this work year-round without much energy is just a small trombe wall. And trombe walls are used in some parts of the country. Here in New Mexico, they're very common. They use them in home heating, and we've implemented that into the front grow bed in this greenhouse. It really helps with the soil temperature in this upper bed, and the back of the bed is much warmer than the front of the bed actually.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about what a trombe wall actually is for viewers who aren't familiar with that?
Yeah, a trombe wall is just a mass. It's typically made out of adobe or block that's filled with concrete or brick, and it's behind a pane of glass or glazing, and the sun comes in and hits that, warms it, and that wall releases its energy to your room or to your greenhouse at night. Very often combined with some kind of a convection system to get the energy out of it at night a little better. But in this case, because space was so much at a premium, we basically just let it radiate heat into that grow bed.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Darren, and thanks everyone for tuning into this channel for the first part in this series of our near zero input greenhouse we've built here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Please check out our other videos in the series. We'll also be creating additional greenhouse related series in the future, so please consider subscribing to our channel, and thanks for tuning in.